Hello, amazing world YouTube. Ace Reddit here for another video, and today we are going to be reading some ProRevenge. Now, this is a great subreddit. I thoroughly enjoy it almost all the time. I feel like it could be done a little bit more, but that'll come for another video in the future where I'll read some stuff like Nuclear Revenge. Anyway, this first ProRevenge story is called Church Camp is Hell. So a few years ago, I was worker in this Baptist summer camp not far from my home. We'll just call it what it is. Hell. I've been a devoted staff member for 3 years, even managing the concession stand for one of them. I was a hard worker, consistently jumping in to do jobs nobody really wanted, like trash, pulling weeds, or stuffing vending machines, etc. On top of that, I was genuinely the favorite staffer of one of the kids that rolled through the camp. Now, camp policy was for one of the staff to live on campus when they were working, which was, for most staff, a weekday only ordeal. Those of us that worked weekends had to request it. I did this frequently, as I genuinely loved the work I was doing. I even worked the off season as much as I could. Midway through my third summer in hell, I ended up with a really bad inner ear infection, so I took my allotted week off to recover. Towards the end of the week, I was asked to be on call for the weekend. I didn't have my driver's license at the time. My family was going on 3.5 hours out of town for the weekend, so I requested to stay on campus in case I was needed. I was told this was not a problem. That was incorrect. It should also be said my father had my house key, as he had lost his. 2 hours after arriving on Friday, I'm called down to the dining hall where the week staff are having their final meeting to receive paychecks and debrief. I think nothing of this. I come walking into the dining hall, thrilled to see my companions for the first time in a little over a week. I find the owner of the camp we called Phil. I also like to add that this man is the senior pastor of his church. He's also a racist, sexist, homophobic piece of human garbage that thinks he can get away with murder just because he's old and well off. Sitting with the entire staff. Phil asked me to come sit with him, and I obliged. As far as I was aware, he was pretty fond of me, so I wasn't concerned. I was wrong to think that way. The following conversation unfolded in front of roughly 30 of my coworkers. Phil, insert my name here. What are you doing here, pal? I was asked to be on call, sir. I was told I could stay on campus since my family is out of town for the weekend. Phil, I see. Well, we don't need you. You can go home. Well, actually, I can't. My family is out of town, and my dad has my house key, and I don't drive. Phil, I'm sorry to hear that. Let's find somewhere to go, but you can't stay here. Me, very calm through this whole deal. Phil, I don't have anywhere I can go. I keep dropping my phone. Phil, I'm sorry again to hear that, but it's really not my problem, is it? You should have thought this one through. To this point, the entire room has gone silent. All of my coworkers are watching in shock, completely unaware of how to react to this. Phil notices. Phil, you know what? I'm sorry, you can't stay here. Insert my name blank here. But I'm going to work you hard, and you'll be working for the housing alone. I won't be paying you, and you'll have to figure food out. He then looks to his staff, who are even more horrified now, and addresses them. Am I being unfair? Do you think this is reasonable? I'm fuming. My face is probably very visibly red, and I'd love nothing more to explode. But I do my best to stay calm through this whole thing. I say I'll figure something out, and I leave without another word. That night, I spent sleeping on the side of the road, just off the property. Next day, I started formulating my plan. My parents are aware of the situation, and I want desperately to come get me, but I refuse this. I spent Saturday hiding in my coworker's room while they were checking my room for me like I was some kind of criminal. Sunday night I slept in my room because at this point I really don't give a flying fuck. Monday morning, I make my way to the dining hall, out of uniform, and take a seat, and the whole staff is present. I stand. It was my day to deliver our devotional, so nobody really thought anything of it. My speech was as follows. My fellow staff members, if you were all present Friday to witness the way I was treated by our loving and fearless leader, Phil. I'm sure many of you were uncomfortable, though, through the course of our conversation. But I want you all to be assured that I got along just fine. Did I resort to sleeping on the side of the road like an animal? Yes. Did I hide on campus the rest of the weekend, having to beg someone to sneak food to me? Again, yes. But that's alright, I must ask you though. If Phil has no problem treating me this way after giving 3 years of my life to this camp, how do you think he's going to treat you? He's more than happy to put me on the street for the weekend, knowing I had nowhere to go. And correct me if I'm wrong, that doesn't seem very Christ-like to me. So I endure his mistreatments as long as you want. but I think I've had enough. I quit. Bill, fuck you. I sincerely hope you rot in hell. With that, I walked out the door with my 10 coworkers right behind me. The following week, I caught wind of another 15 quitting after, and during half an hour of Phil shit-talking me to the staff. The camp was left with maybe 6 employees, as a group of 850 campers was coming through. And honestly, I never felt so powerful. Now, this was a great story. Personally, you all know how I am about religion, but still, I even let people have their beliefs. This fucker, this Phil, little bastard of a preacher or pastor, whatever you want to call him, has no right at all to think he is basically God and can do whatever the heck he wants to his employees working at a camp for campers, probably to persuade them into Christianity and get them on a right track, so to say. I'm putting major quotations around that. My problem with this pastor here is his blatant disregard for the people around him. I could get past the racist, homophobic, and all that, because that's how most people are down here in the South, and I hate it, but I have to deal with it every day. My problem is whenever you start treating people around you that are devoting most of their lifetime, or their time and freedom, to working at places like this. But, yeah. That's all I have to say. Give away my number because you're upset we broke up? Get yourself fired. TLDR at the bottom. So for a while I was dating my coworker. We both were 17 at the time. We came to realize she's extremely outgoing and loves parties. For the first few weeks I didn't mind. It was usually with other coworkers anyways. But after 6 consecutive weekends, my social anxiety was getting the better of me. After some convincing from my friends, I decided to end things with her, because everyone was so slowly beginning to realize she wasn't the nicest. When I broke up with her, she made it way more dramatic than what it was. Afterwards, I started getting texts from unknown numbers. Usually I just ignored them, but they always knew my name, so I felt I had to respond. Turns out she gave my number to all her friends, which was one of the worst things to do to someone with severe anxiety problems. Now the texts at first weren't anything crazy, just annoying, but as it went on, more and more texts came in, and they started getting worse to the point where it was stressing me out. I told her to stop giving out my number because it was childish, and she did, for a week or two. But during that week, I told my friend, who worked with us and understood my side of the story, that she's still bothering me more than a month after we broke up. He suggested I start taking pictures of the text messages, so I promptly did. Most of the conversation started with some insults, and then I asked where they get the number from. Now, the text came late at night, so I assumed her and her friends were usually drinking. So if they asked, they would say who they got the number from, and they would say Mike's name. Perfect. So I started taking screenshots with her name in conversations where they decided to insult me. After a couple hours, I had around 20 pictures. The next shift, when we were working together, we were still high schoolers, so we always saw each other because of weekend shifts. I went to assistant manager and said this. Assistant manager is AM, me is me. Hey AM, can I come with a complaint about X? AM, okay, what's up? Me. She gave out my number to her friends when I asked her not to, and they keep harassing me. Assistant manager, really? You two seem to be friends. Have you asked her not to? Many times. Assistant manager, okay, I'll have a talk with her about it. Thanks for bringing it up. Me, that's not all. I showed him the messages I saved and his eyes widened. Assistant manager, oh god, I thought there were going to be some innocent crank calls. Nope. Assistant manager, this is against not only against policy to give out other workers' info, but illegal. Thanks for showing me this. I'll make sure she's swiftly punished. She's working right now, right? Send her back here for me, please. Can you not mention my name? I don't want any additional drama. Me, or assistant manager, of course. The rest of the shift goes, okay. I don't see her, don't get any text rest today. Then I come back the next day and hear from my friend, who told me I should start taking screenshots explaining she was fired for harassment and giving out private info. This was my best victory, especially when she messaged me saying I was a piece of shit for getting her fired. to which I just responded with the middle finger emoji and blocked her number. TLDR, Psycho X gave away my number to her friends to harass me, so I get her fired for leaking personal information. Ugh, that's just satisfying. It's a satisfying story, to say the least. Honestly, he didn't expect, I don't think, her to get fired, so it was a bit of a, I want to say like a bonus to it. He just wanted to mention it to his boss, hope that she would get reprimanded or something. I don't think he even thought she would get fired or that it was illegal. But still, this was a great revenge story. For what it's worth, I honestly expect more revenge stories to be like hardcore revenge, like plan everything out in very detail. But I genuinely love the stories where the person taking revenge out on another doesn't even know it to happen until it happens, and it's just perfect timing. But yeah, on to the next one. For our final story today, this one is called Retail Revenge, Coffee Shop Edition. So this started when I had just started my new job at Starbucks. Ugh, Starbucks. About a year ago. I'm gonna get so much flack for saying that. In November 21, Christmas was coming up. A little crazy person from fuck me. English. A little crazy season for Starbucks with a lot of people on the daily and lots of sales. I was just starting out. And what they just called a green bean. That could be the worst pun I ever read. Mainly meaning the POS system because that's all I could do at the time. I had encountered my very first asshole customer. And here's how it went. I remember this man's face very well, even though I've only seen him a total of 2 times. He came to my store around 9 a.m. This is important. He was very tall, middle-aged, Caucasian, bald, wore all blue. When it was his turn to order, he came up to the register. He requested a blonde roast, pour over. Now, if you're familiar with the way Starbucks works, you can generally get 3 roasts: dark, blonde, and medium. We brew medium all day, but we brew blonde and dark until 12 p.m. For those who aren't familiar with what a pour-over is. It's an individual cup of coffee that takes a couple of extra minutes to complete. Once he had ordered the blonde roast, I asked him if he would like to get a cup since we're still brewing it fresh and it would be faster that way. He did not even let me finish my sentence because God hates me apparently. Same sister. Today was also the day my store SM and store manager and district manager DM were having a meeting. I'm not sure how this man knew they were both my bosses, but he stormed in their direction and began cursing me out. Looking at me periodically and then very loudly said, "Next time here, she better not be." I was so stunned I had no idea what I did wrong because he didn't even give me a chance to finish my sentence. My DM looked towards me and just motioned that everything is fine, I should keep bringing customers. A couple minutes later, my SM is trying to get a recovery card. It has $4 on it for mishaps, and if we want to give a customer a free drink. Before my manager can even do something, the man just storms out the door. I'm obviously shook to my core. My DM came up to me and asked what I told the man. I said all I did was offer him a cup of coffee instead of a pour-over to cut him some wasting time. They both said everything's okay and that I'm not in trouble, so I forgot about it for a long time. Until 3 months later I get my closure. Very dead evening of a shift on Wednesday, I was closing, and as usual, manning the front of the house when I look up and see that familiar shade of blue, those wrinkles, and that shiny, bald head. It was him! This man was coming out of our restroom, made intense eye contact. I had the most shit-eating grin on my face, as if I was saying, "That's right, bitch, I'm still here." His eyes were full of anger. He came out of the door and walked past a couple of feet. Okay, I read that right. And stared at me through the glass door, flipping me off. A grown-ass man wasted his emotions and time to stand outside of a Starbucks, staring at a teenage girl, giving her the middle finger. I decided this was enough, so I called my shift supervisor, who then called security. I don't really know if he got caught by security after this transpired, but what I know for a fact is that he never came back again to my store. I know this is an epic revenge like some like to see on this subreddit. I just wanted to share because I rarely see angry asshole customers get their ass handed to them. Wish I had more freedom to defend myself, but Starbucks makes it difficult. This is a small revenge, I guess. I feel like this is more of a petty revenge story. But still, it is somewhat of a revenge. Because even though she doesn't know if he got caught, he still could have been caught by security and then, I guess, banned from Starbucks or banned from being around that specific mall or, I guess, area. But, yeah. Anyway, guys, that's going to be all for this video. Remember to pimp slap that like button and subscribe to me. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, all that good stuff. Go check out my main gaming channel if you want to see more content. And I do hope you like this schedule I'm going with, because this will be the first time mentioning it. Every Monday will be my main channel gaming. Tuesday will be a Reddit video on here. Wednesday will be a Minecraft video on the Minecraft channel. Thursday will be another Reddit video on this channel. And then on Friday will be another gaming video on my main channel. The weekend is still primarily for me to not do anything because I will be at work. Because the universe hates me. But yeah, keep on playing, players. Peace. Goodbye.